Today we talk about three basic functions: y equals x squared, and y equals 2 to the x. These functions we're going to take as the basic functions for three of the four major function families that we're going to talk about in this course. There are more than four function families that we'll talk about, but four of them actually are the basis for all the others. Now there are functions, of course, that aren't part of these, or that don't come from these four basic functions, but most of the ones that we do first semester are closely related and defined by these four basic functions. So three of the basic functions are these. The fourth is going to be power functions, and we'll talk about that later. We want to begin simply by making a table for each of the functions. So we have x values running from -3 to 3, and we want to look at what the corresponding y values are. Now what y values are going to go with x equals -3, -2, -1, and so forth when y equals x? Well, that one's just about a no-brainer. If y equals x, then when x is -3, y is going to be -3. When x is -2, y is going to be -2, and so forth. And of course, that's what we get when we make this table. Now what are we going to get if we do y equals x squared? Okay, you should think about this. You should pause the playback for a minute and think about what this means. Well, y equals x squared means we're going to take the value of x and square it, so that when x is -3, y is going to be -3 squared, which is going to be 9. X is -2, you square that, you're going to get 4, and so on. And we see the values here. Okay, we have 9, 4, 1, 0, 1, 4, 9. There's a symmetry here. Symmetric about x equals 0. The values of y that you get when you go this way from x equals 0 are the same as the values of y you get when you go this way. And we've seen what that does to the shape of the y equals x squared function graph. What about y equals 2 to the x? What's 2 to the -3? Well, we saw a minute ago that 2 to the -3 is 1 over 2 cubed. 2 to the -2 is 1 over 2 squared. 2 to the -1 is 1 over 2 to the 1. What's 2 to the 0? Well, 2 to the 0, as we saw a few minutes ago, is 1. So that we get these results when we evaluate the y equals 2 to the x function. Over to the right, we've written a little bit of detail on how we calculate some of these values. 2 to the -3 is 1 over 2 cubed. 2 cubed is 2 times 2 times 2, that's 8, so we have 1 over 8. 2 to the -2 is 1 over 2 squared, which is 1/4, and so on. You should know at any minute how to write a table for any of these three functions and to sketch a graph in very short order. Now we're going to look at the graph in a minute, but you should understand these tables and you should know what the numbers are going to be without even really having to think too much about it.